Two of the top offensive teams are set to battle here today, but if it's true that defense wins championships, then which one of them is on the right track to indoor soccer glory? Find out as the Major Arena Soccer League presents the Florida Tropics as they host Soleil de Sonora. Greetings all, and thanks for choosing to spend a bit of your day with us here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. I'm Brian Ackley along with Robbie Aristodemo. Only a week ago, Robbie, the Florida Tropics with their biggest win at home ever, the most goals they have ever put up in a game here at the RP Funding Center. 14 of them against the Rochester Lancers. They scored 17 on the road against Rochester earlier in the season. A big offensive night. They'll need it again here this afternoon.
No, I think so. Obviously, the competition is going to be a little bit stiffer against Soleil from Mexico. It's a tough team, quick in the transition moments. Rochester certainly struggling at the bottom, but good confidence booster for Clay Roberts, scoring a lot of goals at home. Always exciting for the fans.
It was indeed, and we've got a big crowd here this afternoon. Might be a record crowd in Florida Tropics franchise history as the Tropics polished off Rochester last week, but then had the misfortune of having to play the very next night in Milwaukee and put up a very strong effort before falling in overtime 6-5. So only the second loss all season for the Tropics, Robbie. They've both been against Milwaukee, both by one goal. Strong effort, tough to go back-to-back, especially when you have a kind of a long road trip like that. So really nothing to be ashamed about by the Tropics in that performance Sunday.
No, I agree, and only really giving up 5 goals in regulation, 1 obviously in OT. You're playing against the defending champions, so I think it's a great effort on the road. And now let's see if they can translate that momentum into a nice home win tonight.
Talking about the postseason, and both these teams have their eyes on that prize. The Tropics, of course, hoping to fend off the rest of the Eastern Conference, but if things are getting tight across the top of the Eastern Conference, Utica just a game and a half back now. Sonora in very much a playoff fight out west. They are just 9-9 overall. It's currently in the playoff picture, but with a couple of teams chasing. What do these two teams need to do, Robbie, to really kind of get themselves prepared and set for that postseason sprint?
Well, I think if you're Clay Roberts, you want to continue the momentum at home. You've got to protect your home turf. It's extremely important to get wins at home as much as possible. So this is a massive game for Clay Roberts. And I think, obviously for the visiting team, they're in the thick of things in the West. They're 9-9, so they're in the hunt. And we both know, Brian, that the Blast, the Heat, the Ambush, all in the East, they're all fighting for that last playoff berth. So it's going to be a fight to the finish.
So we take a look at how things are shaping up in the Eastern Conference of the MASL. You can see the Florida Tropics on top of the 14-2 mark, but Utica very much nipping at their heels at 12-3. Milwaukee very much in the thick of things as well. Certainly not guaranteed of a playoff spot, but it was a big boost for them to get a win over Florida Sunday. They are at 11-4. Baltimore and Harrisburg will be playing tonight in Harrisburg. That's a huge game for the Heat as they try and keep the Baltimore Blast in their sights. Baltimore has improved now to 12-7 and has the easier of the two schedules going down the stretch of the MASL last third of the season. And then Harrisburg, as we said, at 10-7. St. Louis at 500, not out of it. Or rather, Kansas City at 500, not out of it. St. Louis has dropped now a couple of games below that 500 mark and are hoping to perhaps put a win streak together to make a late playoff push. We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment, presented by Bond Clinic. This is Florida Tropics Soccer and the Major Arena Soccer League on Grade 38.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
We are the Bond Clinic.
We are primary care.
Comprehensive, personalized, state-of-the-art health care designed to serve you and your family.
We are specialists.
For over 70 years, the Bond Clinic physicians and our team of specialists deliver expert treatments and outstanding care. With over 90 providers, from urgent care to physical therapy, cardiology to urology, we put your health first. Healthcare excellence in our community. The Bond Clinic.
At the Spine Institute of Central Florida, we view surgery as a last resort. When needed, we employ the least invasive state-of-the-art spine surgical techniques to fix the problem at the source. Our highly trained experts provide the entire spectrum of non-surgical and surgical spine care all under one roof. Our unique approach ensures that you get the best results possible, maximize your recovery, and get back to what you love. Spine Institute of Central Florida. Trust nothing but the very best for your spine care.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
We are the Bond Clinic.
We are your medical services.
Comprehensive, personalized, state-of-the-art healthcare designed to serve you and your family.
We are community.
For over 70 years, the Bond Clinic physicians and our team of specialists deliver expert treatments and outstanding care. With over 90 providers, from pediatrics to diabetic care, lab services to sports medicine, we put your health first. Healthcare excellence in our community. The Bond Clinic.
Bond Clinic is proud to be the official medical provider of Florida Tropics Soccer. Our sports medicine team is dedicated to keeping the Tropics healthy and on the field. Bond Clinic celebrating 71 years now of healthcare to the Polk County community. Let us know how we can partner with you to keep your family healthy. Bond Clinic, proud to be the presenting sponsor and official medical provider of the Florida Tropics. Just about ready for kickoff here in Lakeland, and a couple of stage setters for you for Florida Tropics fans. Not all particularly good news on the injury report. We've got two that have been there for a while, Matt Clare and Ricardinho with the leg, but Zach Reggett is out with a bit of a leg injury. If this was the playoffs, he probably could play, but Clay Roberts giving Zach the weekend off. And in the warm-ups, Robbie, believe it or not, Gordy Gerson injured a hip, so he is not dressed. He is in the locker room getting attention, and Rob Acosta comes out of street clothes out of the crowd to play this afternoon for the Tropics. So no Zach Reggett and no Gordy Gerson. That's a lot of offense that is missing from that Tropics lineup.
No, you're right, Brian. That's a big loss for Clay Roberts. Add in Matt Clare with 13 goals. Obviously, the Tropics have lost him for the season, so there's a lot of goals to be had. But the Tropics do have a lot of depth, and I think I'm pretty confident in the players that are coming in.
Yeah, they do have depth, but nonetheless, as you point out, with Claire, Reggett, and now Gordy Gerson out of the lineup, that's 41 goals out of this lineup, and that's significant no matter how much depth you have. But Ricardo Carvalho, Victor Pereiras, and Antonio Manfoot, 1, 2, and 5 in the scoring list for the Tropics, all dressed, and be a good game maybe for Ricardo Carvalho to get hot. He has been a little quiet in the last few weeks after getting off to a tremendous start. Still having a great year. He's got 20 assists already, which is a career high and 16 goals, but he's a guy that could step up and fill that offensive void.
No, they're certainly going to have him step up for sure. And we also didn't talk about Drew Ruggles with yellow card suspension. For me, he's probably been really the overall glue of the team. He's very composed at the back. He doesn't get rattled. He breaks pressure. So that's another significant loss for the Tropics on the day.
Yep, Drew Ruggles picking up a penalty point accumulation suspension after that blue card in Milwaukee Sunday. So he is out for this afternoon's game as well. So yeah, a lot of talent out of the lineup. Joey Tavernese is out there in the lineup for his second game back after suffering that freak eye injury while on the road trip to Texas at the end of January. So we'll see how that plays out. Sonora comes in with a 9-9 mark. They are currently in third place in the West, but they do not have a playoff spot guaranteed by any stretch. The Tropics, of course, come in at 14-2. A 1.5 game lead against Utica, 2.5 over Milwaukee, the only team to have defeated Florida this year. They've done it twice.
Yeah, one of the things to look at early, oftentimes with some of the Mexican sides, Monterrey Flash, now you've got Sone here. They play a little bit less traditional than a lot of the East Coast teams. They oftentimes have multiple target players interchanging.
Yeah, definitely something to watch tonight and something to watch for the Tropics and their defenders who may not be used to that 2-on-1 here. If they hurry, Manfoot's got Guillerme ahead of the field, leaves it off, tried to hit Pereiras, but Pereiras couldn't control it, so Guillerme will play it back. And that's one of the things you will see against Sonora and sometimes Monterrey is those odd man advantages because of the way they flood the offensive zone.
No, that's exactly right. They don't really play with a traditional target, so transition moments are going to be on and plentiful for the Tropics.
And the Tropics have had a lot of good ones so far this year, certainly. Rafa Alves on it. Left side now to Lucio Gonzaga. Gonzaga down low to Guillerme, turns off the boards, didn't get much on it. Gonzaga tried to follow. Stephen DeRue will pick up the loose ball. Tropics will possess at the midfield here. Just underway at the Lakeland Center in Lakeland, Florida, the RP Funding Center, I should say now. Glad to have you here on Great 38 on MASL.TV or wherever you may be watching.
So far, so good for the Tropics. I like their changes. They're quick, they're sharp. They've got already a couple of line changes just in the first few minutes.
Lucas Monaleris over to the other Lucas Teixeira. Teixeira down low. That's William Iang, who is new to the Tropics roster. He comes from Cameroon, has played with Orlando City B in the USL. Spent a little time with the Carolina Railhawks. Also Atlanta SC in the NISA. Good size for the target forward. You wear number 9. He's about 6'2", as Lucas Teixeira gets it back out. Here's a long shot and a save by Angel Rubalcaba, who is getting the starting goal for Sonora here this afternoon.
Yeah, I think for the rookie, William, he's just going to have to come in, get short shifts, get his foot on the ball, keep things simple, find his way into the game. First ever indoor game professionally.
Here's Carvalho with a Carvalho top of the arc, and that shot was blocked. Got his own rebound shot, and Rubalcaba makes the save. So Carvalho getting involved early here, trying to break onto the score sheet. Here's Pereiras. Pereiras, who became the Tropics' all-time leading scorer, shot, and that was headed for the far post and was knocked out of there.
Two great attempts, Brian. One from Victor, one from Ricardo.
It was Alejandro Leyva who made the defensive play off the line. Check that, it was Javier Dorame who made the play.
I think one of the things I've noticed early, Brian, is just a little bit disorganization with the visiting team. Sole de Sonora just losing runners. I think it's a real opportunity for the Tropics to play balls into the target, makes runs off the target. I think they'll find a lot of success.
Here's Carvalho with it. Carvalho being watched in there by Flores. Back on top to Stephen DeRuno. Yeah, they've created some chances and some space already in the Soleil end of the field, no question. Here's DeRue looking for Tavernese down low. Tavernese, Manfoot bangs in there, and the Tropics will gain possession. Tavernese top of the arc. Back to Gonzaga. Gonzaga dangerous from distance. Shot goal! Lucio Gonzaga sneaks one inside the far post. And the Tropics have an early 1-0 lead.
Just on the replay, Tavernisi just cuts the ball back. Lucio goes to his weak foot, slips at far post. Really a play out of nothing, but the veteran comes through with a big first goal for the Tropics.
Yeah, perfectly slotted. Rubalcaba just could not get to the far post in time. It wasn't struck with a lot of velocity, but perfectly placed by the veteran Lucio Gonzaga.
Yeah, just in the first 5 minutes, Brian, you just notice a little bit of a sharpness to the Tropics. The way they're moving the ball, the way they're moving off the ball. You really like the start for the Florida Tropics.
For Gonzaga, goal number 8 this year. Joey Tavernisi picks up the assist. So a very good start here for Florida this afternoon as they look for their 15th win of the season and to start what would be a new win streak for them. They had won 9 in a row before that loss in Milwaukee, as Fernando Machado tried to play it ahead of the field to Guilherme, but he was not making a run there. Machado, one of those young players who've been getting a long look here recently. Eyang now will get a look here this afternoon as well, as the Tropics certainly want to make sure they have good depth going forward in this final third of the regular season. Here's a chance, a shot, and Silva able to make that save.
It is nice to see the big man Rafa back in the lineup. I know he was kind of in and out, played a little bit early on in the season, then he kind of found his way out of the lineup. That's a player that's got a big body, good in the air, strong in tackles.
Long ball down to Carvalho off the boards, a shot off the volley, and he just puts it up over the crossbar. Boy, does he seem poised for one tonight.
Yeah,
maybe one for here, one here in the first quarter, maybe.
Well, that would have been another assist for Hugo there off the boards. Little kind of half scissor volley off the boards from Ricardo.
Here's Eyang with it in the corner. On top to Teixeira, tried to feed it down low to Carvalho. Carvalho with it turns, he fires, that's blocked at the defense. Yeah, Ricardo coming out, a man obsessed right now. Here's Carvalho again. Goes down in the corner, no whistle on the play. Gonzalez will come out of there with it, runs into Monaleras. Counter chance here for Sonora. Knocked away briefly by Carvalho, goes after the loose ball, knocked away by Pereiras. Eyang comes up. Arico with the steal, now Pereiras, nice move, Pereiras cuts in, cuts left, there's a shot, good defensive recovery. Pereiras just could not quite get it teed up in time as Christian Espinoza. Rather, Manuel Aragon got in the way finally. Here's Eyang trying to keep the ball alive. It'll be tracked down over there by Murillo.
Great opportunity from Pereiras, chops it left, chops it right. He's very savvy, 1v1, probably the Tropics' best player 1v1. It's always good to get him the ball in the wide areas.
Alves with it now for Florida. Hugo Silva leads the MASL in goals against at 3.36. Did not play last Sunday against Milwaukee. Did take the win here Saturday against Rochester. Tavernisi with a little dummy ball through to Manford off the board. Tavernisi goal! Boy, you could see that one coming a mile away. The only ones that didn't see it was Sonora in the defense.
Right.
As Tavernisi takes the pass off the boards from Antonio Manfoot.
Well, and it starts really with Hugo Silva breaking the pressure. Lucio Gonzaga cuts it inside, plays a long ball down the boards. Manfoot gets on the end of it. Nice ball into the box off the boards, and Tavernisi gets a tap in. But again, you know, we're talking about the energy, transition moments going forward, getting behind the ball, playing like a real savvy indoor team, and they've come a long way from years past. They certainly look all the best of the first place team in the MASL.
Yeah, they've come out strong here in the first 7 minutes here this afternoon. Lead it 2-0, have had all the chances. And Tavernisi gets his 10th of the season now. 16 points overall for Joey, and great to have him back in the lineup. Here's Guilherme. Over to Carvalho. Being chased over there by Rojo. Here's Guilherme with a shot, and he'll send that way halfway to Treasure Island.
Well, and Carvalho's, he's got his hands written all over this game right now. He's chasing down balls. He's got opportunities on goal. He's providing the critical pass. And for me, he's been very lively, as with all the other Tropics players. I really love the start for Clay Roberts and his team.
And the beauty for Carvalho is he's not a guy like he's been in Harrisburg the last few years, where if he's struggling a little bit, the team's really going to struggle. He doesn't have to shoulder the load here like he's had to in past seasons in places like Harrisburg. So great to see him off to a fast start here this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lines right now. You've got Yoshi playing as a midfielder with Manfoot, Lucas and Hoffa at the back. So it's a different position for Yoshi there.
Yeah, that's an adjustment they had to make with Gerson going out of the lineup. They dressed Rob Acosta, who's really a pure defender. So Sandoval becomes a midfielder here by default. But he's got an offensive bent to him, and his eyeing almost gets around Adrian Miller. Now here's a 3-on-2 for Sonora, but not overly well executed as Avendano has it.
No, I certainly think Sandoval can do the job. He's a defensive-minded player anyway. He's good with the ball. So I think putting him in the midfield position certainly works for Clay Roberts.
Alvis steps in the way of that clearing ball, and Manfoot will play it back to Stephen DeRue, the first and only player ever signed by the Florida Tropics, who has played in the Major League Soccer level. Played for Washington back in the mid-aughts, the mid-2000s. But has become a very good veteran player in the indoor game and an important part of this Tropics defense, which has allowed the fewest goals of any team in the MASL so far this season.
Well, that's a fantastic stat if you're the head coach, giving up the least amount of goals. And we've talked about it before in prior games, Brian. 4 goals or less is always a goal of a head coach for a team that wants to win a championship.
Yeah, this is a team that literally comes into virtually every game with the goal of having a shutout and believes they can do it. They've done it once already this year in Dallas. That was Brett Petricek's shutout, not Hugo Silva's. But this is a team that believes they can keep any team in the league below that 4-goal mark, and on some nights may have a chance to do the rarest of feats in the indoor game, and that is get the shutout. Machado in the corner. Scott Tavernese lurking in front. Now Gonzaga makes a run, and Machado will swing it back out to the midfield line to Monaleras, to the goal scorer Lucio Gonzaga.
I really like the interchanging, the movement off the ball, the runs in behind. You know, I think what I like to see as well is a lot of the defenders for the Tropics are making deep runs.
Tavernese hard into the boards, and is that a blue card? It may be, and it is.
Yeah, we can hear that all the way up from here.
Yeah, that was a hard tumble into the boards by Tavernese. And it looks like it's going to be Javier Dorame that's going to get the 2 minutes here.
Yeah, it's a difficult one on the replay. Maybe it's a little bit harsh, maybe just a free kick, but nonetheless, it's an opportunity for the Tropics to go up 3-0 on the power play. It's got a lot of talented technical players in the man-up situation, so a big opportunity to go up 3-0.
Breaking the action here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. We will step aside for a moment as well. It's the Florida Tropics 2 and the Soleil de Sonora nothing, presented by Bond Clinic. This is Florida Tropics Soccer on Great 38.
We want to top soccer program, which helps kids with mental or physical disabilities play and enjoy this beautiful game. Check out this quick video highlighting the program with some of your favorite Celebrity Tropics coach volunteers. Give yourselves a round of applause, Tropics fans, because without you, we could not accomplish great goals like this. To learn more about the top soccer programs offered in Lakeland and throughout Florida, visit www.fysa.com or call our front office at 863-240-0101.
Little handiwork being done to the turf in the right corner there where Tavernese went down, and Fernando Machado was there a couple of seconds ago, and some of the turf came up. All is well as the Tropics head to the power play. These are two of the better teams in the league on the penalty kill. Florida is actually the best penalty kill team in the league at 83%, but Sonora pretty good as well. They kill penalties at a 70% clip, and they do not want this one to get away from them early. So an important 2 minutes here for both sides. Tropics will send out Guilherme, Gonzaga, Teixeira, Pereiras, and Carvalho.
Always, Brian, the first 15, 20 seconds, you really just want to move the defense around. You want to get him shifting from side to side, tire them out a little bit, and then start to attack.
Here's Pereiras with it. Shot! He tried to hit Guilherme back post, and Guy just fanned on that one. Chance here for Sonora. They are aggressive on the penalty kill. Carvalho with it. Carvalho left side to Pereiras. Back from Teixeira, now to Carvalho at the top of the arc to Guilherme in the corner. Guilherme in front. Carvalho couldn't quite get a good angle on it. Guilherme gets it back. Over to Gonzaga. Down to Guilherme. Guilherme shot. Go!
Wow. That's a rifle, Brian.
Well, he's one of the best finishers in the league, Robbie, and he showed why right there.
Well, pretty simple on the power play. You could kind of smell that a goal was coming. The ball movement was great. Lucio Gonzaga just plays a little left-footed pass down low, and Guilherme does the rest. I mean, that is a top-class finish. Bends it far post with his left foot. Really, really nice goal. Congratulations to Guilherme, because you don't see too many like that.
Another pretty one for the Tropics as they take a 3-0 lead now.
Tropics fans, that goal was scored by number 19.
Really impressed with the start for Clay Roberts and company. They look sharp. The ball movement's good. Their line changes are quick. Hugo Silva's playing out of pressure. And right now they're firing on all cylinders. 3-0 up, and it's only the first quarter. 5 minutes to go.
As good a first quarter as we have seen Florida play maybe all year. For Guilherme, his 9th of the season. 16 points as well now for Guilherme on the year. And it's been all Florida here in the first 10 minutes. Should correct one thing I mentioned a little bit ago. It's Ontario, the Fury, in 3rd place in the West, a half game up on Sonora. Ontario 9-8, Sonora 9-9. So the Soleil just hanging on to that final playoff spot in the West. And the Tropics may have a fair amount to say about that in this coming weekend, because Florida will, for the first time ever in their 4 years, head to the West Coast to play 2 games this coming weekend, both in Tacoma. Thursday night the 27th, and they'll stay right in Tacoma to play the Stars on March the 1st. And those are 2 very, very big games for Tacoma, because they are chasing that final playoff spot in the West. The Tropics, of course, trying to maintain their hold on first in the East, which is important not only for home field advantage as Sandoval gets in behind the Sonora defense but can't control it. It's important for home field advantage, and you get the chance to pick your playoff opponent in the first round. So the Tropics would have their choice of one of the other 3 teams that qualify.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Brian, if I love that scenario in terms of picking who you have to play, but it is what it is.
Chance, a shot, good save by Silva. His best of the game is Manuel Aragon. Let that go.
Yeah, Hugo Silva's looking very sharp. He hasn't had to make a ton of saves, but more importantly, he's really composed with the ball at his feet. Anytime Soledad de Sonora pressures, he's very composed in getting the Tropics out of that pressure.
Pereiras gets his pocket picked on the far side. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out in the East, but Utica just a game and a half behind. They have Rochester at home tomorrow, so with apologies to our great friends Soccer Sam in Rochester and Dougie Miller, we'll put that one in the win column for Utica. Although I might point out, Robbie, don't forget today is in fact the 40th anniversary of maybe the greatest upset in American sports history, when the USA beat USSR in hockey in 1980.
Yep.
Winter Olympics. You know who was there in Lake Placid for that game?
I'm guessing you.
Yeah, I was,
That's
as a matter
amazing.
of fact.
That's amazing.
Wasn't at the game, but I was in Lake Placid I was volunteering at the Olympics that winter. And
that's exciting.
Yeah, it was. It was also the day of my 18th birthday.
Wow.
And my first legal drink was a bottle of peppermint schnapps that we were passing around on a shuttle bus in Lake Placid that night.
Well, you were part of history, that's for sure. That game's been talked about, since obviously they won that massive upset, but a great story.
That's why they play him. So, hey, Rochester, you never know. Here's Guillerme with it. Guillerme down low to Pereira, leaves it off to Monaleris with a shot. Stays in play as Rubalcava makes a good save. Guillerme now with it again with a shot. That's blocked by Rojo. And it'll go out of play. Corner kick here for the Tropics.
Yeah, just a lot of shots, Brian, right now. I think Sola de Sonora, they've got to tighten up defensively. They're allowing too many loose runners. They're allowing players like Guillerme and Ricardo Carvalho and Perez to get their head up to get their shots on goal and on frame. And they're asking their keeper to do a lot of work.
Through to Guillerme. Guillerme with a shot, and that one misses just on the far post. Took that little extra push in there to get a shooting lane and just missed, getting his second of the quarter. Dorame gets it ahead for Espinoza, or rather that's Flores with it. Back over to Dorame now. And dominating first 15 minutes here for Florida. Carvalho with it. Carvalho leaves it off for Alves. Gets it ahead back to Carvalho. Carvalho dangerous from sharp angles. Comes back out. Pereira's can't control it, but Guillerme will. And then he loses it to Rojo. Quickly back out to the midfield circle where the Tropics will regain possession.
Yeah, easy-going days right now for Florida Tropics. Not a ton of pressure for the visiting side. Good possession, good interchanging, good changes as well for the Tropics.
Carvalho with it. He'll look to go 1v1 here against Dorame. Carvalho with a long shot. He bended that one just wide. Here's Daru with it. Daru. He's been battling a bunch of injuries, but back in the lineup. Long chip towards Silva by Dorame, but that goes out of play.
Valiant effort from Dorame.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, Hugo Silva was well off of his line, but difficult to chip a keeper in the indoor game, although we do see it once in a while. That would have been a world-class goal.
Still 38 seconds for Florida to make one more push here. Silva has not been hugely tested in the first 15 minutes. He'll be thankful for that. Ball ahead to Tavernese, one of the goal scorers here. Tavernese, Guillerme, and Lucio Gonzaga. Man foot with some high pressure. Gets it off to Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez gets it over to Flores now. Aragon into the Florida end of the field, intercepted by Tavernese. He's pulled down from behind, and that's going to be a blue card.
Well, that's the second one that Tavernese has drawn. Credit to him. Always the feisty defensive forward.
Sonora going to argue that point a little bit.
Well, let's see a replay because
it was a pretty tough challenge from behind, no question. So Adrian Miller will head to the box. Second power play opportunity for the Tropics. They already have one power play goal on that beauty by Guillerme. See if they've got enough time to create one more chance here before the first quarter expires.
Yeah, I think with 6 seconds left, you can either just sit on the ball or go for an opportunity. Maybe something ricochets off the boards.
Pereira's from distance, and he just puts it over the crossbar out of play. Hey, why not?
No, I agree.
The way things have been going here in the first 15 minutes, worth a chance.
Yeah, this is one of those games where for Sonora, they've got to be really careful because this can get out of hand because of all the opportunities that they're allowing the Tropics to shoot from, the distances. They're not putting a lot of pressure on the Tropics attacking players, but all the credit goes to the Florida Tropics because that was a great quarter.
Yeah, really, really strong effort by Florida. It got started by Lucio Gonzaga, Tavernese, and Guillerme follow. Presented by Bond Clinic. This is Florida Tropics Soccer on Great 38. Stay tuned.
Come on, fans, these mascots are all from around the Central Florida area. Let them hear ya. Make some noise and get Tropical! Let's hear it one more time for all the wonderful mascots and the team that participate in the CPS Investment T-shirt toss. CPS Investment Advisors are your partner for your financial future. They have the expertise and background to help you manage investments, your retirement, or trust. Log on to CPOS.com or call them at 863-688.
Just ready to go here in the RP Funding Center in Lakeland as the Florida Tropics lead Soleil de Sonora by a 3-0 count. First time the MASL Mexican teams have ever made a trip here to Lakeland. The Tropics have played in previous seasons in both Sonora and Monterrey. Actually, I'm not sure if they've ever played in Sonora. They have played in Monterrey.
Yeah, Monterrey leading the West first place. Always a difficult place to play. I can remember way back when, a lot of battles against the Monterrey teams. Have had a couple of different ownerships, but very, very good crowds in Monterrey.
Yeah, one of the flagship franchises of the MASL out west, to be sure. And right now, the team to beat, certainly in the Western Conference. San Diego upset last night by Milwaukee 5-3 as Carvalho tries to take the board pass from Victor Pereras. And that was one of the bigger surprising results around the league this season, to see a Tattoo-led Mesquite Outlaws defeat San Diego in Mesquite last night.
Yeah, you like the power play right now with Clay Roberts. He's got 3 left-footed players on the power play, and that can be very difficult for a defensive unit. They're spread out. They've got shooters from all over. There's not one player on the man-up that can't score goals.
Here's Gonzaga over to Guillerme. Guillerme looks for an angle, puts it off the boards. Knocked out of play by Rubalcava, so it'll be a corner kick here for the Tropics. They've been much better on set pieces in the last few games, and that's encouraging because they went through a stretch where they really struggled with that, and that can be such a game breaker.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. I think like we talked about before, if you want to win a championship, set pieces are critical.
Pereras with a toe poke on the rebound, but he puts it out of play. But again, a pretty well executed restart moment there.
One of the things in indoor, Brian, is that there's so many things to practice and work on. You've got the man up, the man down, the 6 attacker for and against. You've got your line changes, your interchanging. And then sometimes there's just not enough time to continuously practice a lot of these dead ball situations, but they are critical.
Foul called against Florida on the push. So Sonora will get a shorthanded restart here. Ball in the box. Down low, shot off the boards. Silva got a piece of it.
A little bit lackadaisical on the man up there defensively. They allowed a couple of runners in the box. Fortunate that Hugo Silva was in the right place at the right time.
As we said, the Soleil are always aggressive on the penalty kill. They have 3 shorthanded goals this year. Enrique Cañez, who don't believe is dressed here this afternoon. We've not seen him, who leads the team in goals with 30, has 2 shorthanded goals. Here's a shot by Teixeira, and that didn't miss by much. Guillerme tried to knock in the rebound, couldn't do it. Daniel Lopez also has a shorthanded goal this year for Sonora.
Well, this is big now, Brian, because it's a man-up situation, plus it's a top of the box, so 5 versus 4, and you've got a real opportunity on this set piece.
23 seconds left in the man advantage, and yes, Sonora can only use a 2-man wall here. Laid off, shot by Gonzaga, and that's blocked out of play. It'll be a corner kick again, this time to the right of Rubalcava. Pereras will be the trigger man here.
Somebody scream!
Here's Carvalho's shot, never got through. Guillerme takes a whack at the rebound. Off the boards, comes out to Armenta. Dorame with it. Ahead of the field now. 2-on-2, maybe a 3-on-3. Good defensive play by Teixeira. Counter attack here for the Tropics. Pereiras gets run down from behind. And Sonora will counter. The power play is over.
Well, this is a dangerous spot because all 5 players right now are going to get caught on a long power play. They've got to find their way off, get some new players on. And they had a lot of opportunities. They generated quite a few chances. But credit to Sonora, they blocked a lot of shots on that man down situation.
Great call, Robbie, because Ricardo Carvalho recognized that situation immediately. And when he got possession of the ball, just took it back towards his goal and allowed a wholesale change for the Tropics. Yang comes looking for it in the Sonora end of the field, but can't pick it up. Rubalcaba will find Aragon. Back to Avendano. And now Aragon.
I'm not sure, it was a bit of a confusing change from Sandoval. Pereiras jumps back on and he just came off on the man-up situation.
Fortunately for the Tropics, no too many men on the field situation, which of course is a 2-minute penalty. Miller down low to Armenta. Avendano also in there, no whistle. Long outlet down the right side to Manfoot. Being challenged in there by Murillo. And Murillo able to win that battle. Long ball ahead of the field to Gonzalez. Whistled for the foul, a little bit too much contact on Steven Deroux there.
Well, and sometimes, Brian, this is the second power play that the Tropics have had. Sometimes when you have power plays, it does disrupt a little bit of the rhythm on who goes in, the line changes. So I think that's what we were seeing earlier with Sandoval changing with Pereiras, but I think the Tropics need to get back in the flow.
Tavernese in the box. Tavernese turns, couldn't quite get the angle. Manolares follows up. Tavernese takes another whack and couldn't get it. Long outlet from Rubalcaba towards Flores. Tracked down now by Flores. Let's see if Pereiras can keep possession. He does. Here's Pereiras. He's got Tavernese with him. Pereiras on a great defensive play. Coming in there was Murillo at the last minute to break up the 2-on-1 opportunity. Good aggressive play by Irving Murillo.
Well, you can see Pereiras. He's bent over. He's tired. He just did a 2-minute man up and then a quick line chase, and he's been on quite a few minutes in this second quarter.
As we said, the Tropics short of forward, kind of. Gordy Gerson hurt during the warm-ups. So Rob Acosta dressing instead of Gerson, and of course Acosta defender. So one less forward available for Clay Roberts here. Here's Manolares with a shot. Blocked in there by Aragon. Here's a long try off the boards wide by Machado. Pereiras with some pressure. Good step up by Teixeira. Teixeira leaves it off. Here's a shot. Pereiras with another opportunity, and he puts it through the box. In front, Tavernese tracks it down. Can't get a lot on it. And Rubalcaba will finally clean it up there for Sonora.
Yeah, it almost seems like it's a firing range right now because everyone for the Tropics are just firing in all cylinders, taking shots from all different distances.
3-0 Tropics, all the scoring coming in the first quarter. Guillerme, Gonzaga, and Tavernese. Here's a 2-on-1 chance now for Sonora. Good play by Gonzaga as he got back and got finally some help from Teixeira.
Yeah, did a good job reading the 2v1, kind of corralling him to the board side and reading the pass. That was great.
Cleared out of there by Tavernese. Dorame picks it up. Rojo sends it around the boards. Near side bang at it by Carlos Hernandez goes out of play. It'll be a kick in for Sonora.
Fans, come join us at the yard.
Yeah, I'd like to see Robert Costa get in. There's a few players for the Tropics right now that have been playing extended amount of minutes, starting to wear it down a little bit. Lucas Teixeira and Montelares, they've been on a lot because they are. Lucas Teixeira in particular, he's on the man up as well, and he's playing in twos, so he's finding himself on the field quite a bit so far in the first half.
Sanchez sends it through the box. Back out to the yellow line, and Gonzaga steps in front of that one, but it goes out of play. So a corner kick coming up now for De Soleil.
Yeah, we talk about blocking shots, and I think that's one of the things that we've seen a massive improvement. Not only balls off the boards offensively, but blocking shots defensively has been a big, I think, improvement from last year.
Yeah, the goals against has been a true team effort. Here's a shot through the box, knocked out of there by Machado. And then Carlos Hernandez sends that halfway to Dunedin.
Upshaw has a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results. Celebrating 75 years in the community of elevating results.
Fresh legs for the Tropics out there. Yoshio Sandoval will take it from Hugo Silva. Stephen DeRue, Rafa Alves out there as well, with Ricardo Carvalho and Guilherme up front. Carvalho, 3 or 4 great chances in the first 15 minutes, did not find the back of the net. Little trouble for the Tropics clearing the zone here. Silva going to have to come off his line. Alves will turn and try and find a little space. He'll finally play it back to Hugo. Good play by Silva. Now ahead to Alves.
So composed, Hugo, at the back. He's able to really break pressure. And I think one of the things we talked about early on in the pregame was Drew Ruggles. Oftentimes when teams press, he's the main guy that can keep things composed and break pressure. And you notice a little bit of uncertainty without Drew Ruggles at the back.
No question about it. Drew Ruggles has been tremendous all season for the Tropics and one of several key players not in the lineup. Good play by DeRue to knock it out of there. No Zach Reggett this afternoon. Ruggles missing the game because of a one-game suspension. And as we've mentioned a couple of times, Gordy Gerson not dressed after coming out for warm-ups and hurting himself. We don't think it was serious, but tweaking a hip. So he is not dressed this afternoon. Of course, no Cañez for Soleil. Big loss for them. Carvalho trying to get ahead of the field, and he will not win that race. It comes back to Rubalcava. Now to Miller.
Nice little spell of possession for Sonora, finding themselves back into this second quarter. And for me, they've been a little bit sharper in terms of their possession. They're creating some half chances, so certainly not out of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely been a better quarter for Sonora. Better flow and more composure, as you've said. A little more structure, and that's certainly shut down some of the Florida chances as well. They had so many there in the first 15 minutes. Here's a shot, never got through as DeRue stepped in front of that one. Again, another opportunity in front, and that goes out of play. Break in the action here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. It's the Florida Tropics 3. Soleil de Sonora, no score. This is Florida Tropics Soccer presented by Bond Clinic on Great 38.
Services.
Comprehensive, personalized, state-of-the-art healthcare designed to serve you and your family.
We are community.
For over 70 years, the Bond Clinic physicians and our team of specialists deliver expert treatments and outstanding care. With over 90 providers, from pediatrics to diabetic care, lab services to sports medicine, we put your health first. Healthcare excellence in our community. The Bond Clinic.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
Looking for our first goal still here in the second quarter after the Tropics have put a 3-spot up in the first. Victor Pereira will see what he can do about that as he gets it over to Antonio Manfoot. Pereira can't pick up that ball. Montalera steps up. Murillo plays it back to Dorame. Long ball into the Florida third to Aragon. Sonora comes in having scored 131 goals this year, so they are one of the offensive powers, at least on paper, in the MASL. Although folks in the league will tell you that if you play in the Western Conference, you tend to be able to pick up and pad your stats offensively perhaps a little more than you do in the East, which is a little more balanced and a little deeper with quality teams this year.
No, I agree, and I think quality and just the structure defensively, it's a little bit more free-flowing in the West Coast. Open, transition is there, counter-attacking opportunities. Right now the Tropics and a lot of the East Coast teams like the Blast and the Wave, they really drop 5 guys behind the ball, and they make it very, very difficult to get scored on. I mean, look at the stats as well, Brian. You know, I wrote down 122 goals against for Sonora.
Right.
That's a ton.
They have the old school philosophy, give up 1 to score 1. That's the old MISL. Off the boards, and Hugo Silva will settle things down here for the Tropics.
Yeah, but I do like the second quarter for Sonora. They've really made a conscious effort to keep the ball, move the ball, interchange, get some good line changes, and they're trying to put a little bit more pressure on Hugo Silva.
Breakout opportunity here as Gonzaga gets it down into the Soleil end to Tavernese. Tavernese in front. There's a shot. Goal! Hard work by Joey Tavernese, and Lucas Montoleras is the benefactor this time. The Tropics now lead it 4-0.
I think that's Tavernese's 3rd assist on the night. Ball down the boards from Gonzaga. Tavernese spins the defender, gets his head up, very composed, and Montoleras finds himself in the box with a great first-time finish.
Yeah, Rubalcaba was over paying attention to Tavernese, and Javier Dorame was in goal, actually got a piece of it, but couldn't keep it out of the net.
Well, we just talked about Hugo Silva breaking pressure, and that's exactly what he did. Sonora's trying to put a little bit more pressure on the Tropics defenders. Hugo Silva very composed, breaks lines, breaks pressure, and it results in a goal.
Chance for Sonora, and that one goes just over the crossbar. Yeah, that was a pretty play all the way down the floor for the Tropics. I think just about everybody on the floor touched it as they broke out. Tavernese ends up setting up Montoleras. Guillerme with the steal now. Yeah, been a big afternoon for Joey Tavernese, and that's great to see. With his injury scare, and still not certainly 100% by any stretch in that eye, but finding out that he in fact is able to play and contribute and play at a level at which he and everyone else expects. Certainly been one of the premier players in this league for a number of years now.
Well, I think right now the Tropics were treading on water there because Sonora was finding themselves back in the game, so to get that 4th goal really kind of stops all their momentum and gives it back to the Tropics.
Yeah, you got that feeling, Robbie, in the first 15 minutes that Sonora might just get blown out of the building, but they found their legs here, if you will, in the second quarter. Carvalho in there tries to knock it away to Ayang. Daru says, "I've got it covered, boys," as he watches Espinoza. Aragon will track it down. Looking deep for Hernandez. Silva will play it, however. Long ball to Ayang, William Ayang. Gonna play it deep, but Rubalcava gets there first.
A bit of a lull back and forth, no real opportunities for both teams. Like to see a little bit more of sustained possession from the Tropics while they're in possession. Get some line changes, get some fresh legs in the offensive half of the field so you can start to beat players 1v1, get players in the box, make runs in the box.
They're going to do exactly that right now as Alvis, Manfoot, and Pereiras comes out along with Tavernese again. Alvis will step up in front there. Manfoot with some fancy footwork. Manfoot trying to create a 2-on-1 opportunity. Now Tavernese with some high pressure. Long shot, well wide. Manfoot going to battle in there with Armenta. Manfoot going to keep possession. And he'll get it back now to Alvis.
Right now, Sonora's always looking to press, so you have to have a midfielder showing. Everyone's got to be a viable option for Hugo Silva because they are pressing. Midfielders got to come in. You've got to have a forward showing as well down the boards, and all five guys need to be an option.
Victor Pereiras with a goal and an assist last week against Rochester to become the Tropics all-time leading scorer, passing his good friend Ricardo Diegues. Picks up that errant pass off the boards in front. Tavernese couldn't quite get enough on it. Good idea by both Pereiras and Joey there.
The ball off the boards from Pereiras. Just like you said, it was a close call from Tavernese.
3-on-3 here for Sonora, but Alvis steps in the middle of that, and then Teixeira knocks it out of harm's way.
Yeah, I think Teixeira's had a great game so far in the first half. He's reading the play really well. He's stepping into passing lanes, and he's covering for a lot of defensive mistakes, and some of the Tropics are making, so he's done a great job on the day.
Good play by Alvis, and he'll try and pick up this loose ball in the corner in front, and there's a goal. Well, there's an indoor goal that not much you can do about. Bang, bang play, and Gonzalez knocks it in. David Gonzalez gets the goal.
Yeah, we'll get a replay off that, but it was a smash off the boards, and it landed perfectly back post to a Sonora player. We'll get a replay. Yeah, deflection, and then just a blast off the boards. Actually a smart play and a nice tap-in goal, and I think for Sonora, that's a lifeline going into the second half because there's only 1 minute 27 seconds left, only down 3 goals, surely in this game.
Yep, this has been a better quarter for Sonora, and their hard work is paid off there. If you don't know what to do with it, get it in front of the net. And David Gonzalez gets the easy goal. Guilherme, left side to Daru now. Daru. No place to go. Guilherme. Got Monaleras down low, little give and go. Monaleras can't convert.
Oh, that would have been a beautiful give and go 1-2 wall pass.
Great play by Rubalcava to deny.
One of the things you like about Montalera is that he is even though he covers the target defender for the opposing team, he very much likes to get in the action and score goals himself.
Alvis will try and make a run down the left-hand side. Emendano steps in front of that. Gonzaga will track it down now for the Tropics. Just 10 seconds to go, so maybe one last opportunity to make a push forward here, but not a good ball from Carvalho, and that should just about wind the timeout here. Long ball right into the breadbasket of Hugo Silva, who goes down to make the save. But that is only the half of it here in Lakeland as the Florida Tropics come out strong. Each team with a goal in the second quarter. Will be back for the halftime in just a moment, presented by Bond Clinic. This is Florida Tropics Soccer on Great 38.
And now, for the first part of tonight's halftime entertainment, please welcome to the field to dance for life.
Halftime here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. The Florida Tropics 4 and Soleil de Sonora 1 as we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings and the Florida Tropics where they have been literally since almost day one of this 2019-20 MASL season at 14-2. Utica 1.5 back at 12-3. Milwaukee, Baltimore, and Harrisburg round out the top five. Now, for Tropics fans who want to think positively and think ahead to the postseason, a place the Tropics have never been in their 4-year history, their magic number for a playoff spot, Robbie, is actually just 3. So any combination at the moment of Florida wins or Harrisburg losses would ensure a Tropics playoff spot. That's a bit of a fluid number based on who is in that 4th and 5th spot, but that gives you an idea just how close the playoffs are, at least officially for the Tropics. Of course, they want to protect first place and have a home field advantage for the playoffs. You're a veteran of many MASL playoff games. Talk about how important that can be in the postseason, that home field advantage.
Well, home field is massive, especially if you've got great crowds. And I played a long time for the Baltimore Blast, and they were always leaders in terms of the crowd. And right now, if you're looking at this game, there's close to 4,000 people on hand in Lakeland. So I think having a home game, also the first ever in the history of the Florida Tropics, would be a real great achievement. But I think the fans would come out, and that would give a real boost for their first ever playoffs.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, to be certain. Just 3 regular season games remaining in the home schedule. Those are all on Sunday in March as we take a look at the Southern Homes home cooking graphic for the rest of the regular season. St. Louis and Kansas City will be here on the 8th and 15th respectively. You did not see them in the conference standings graphic, but they are knocking on the door of that playoff spot as well. A little more distant than Harrisburg is in 5th, but St. Louis is 500 at 8-8, and certainly a little win streak for Kansas City is 8-8, and certainly a little win streak for the Attack could put them back in the playoff picture. St. Louis starting to fade a little bit. They are 8-10, but they will still certainly be alive for a playoff spot when they come here on March 8th. So those will loom as large games for both the Tropics, the Ambush, and then the Tropics and the Comets. A couple of games tonight in the MASL, Rochester and Baltimore, Harrisburg and Orlando. But the big matchup really is tomorrow between the Blast and the Heat. 2 more regular season games remaining between those two clubs. They will play tomorrow afternoon in Harrisburg, but they will need to take care of some business this evening before them, as Rochester and Orlando will provide the opposition there. It's Mascot game day here in Lakeland, so fans will be treated to, the Geico Lizard and the Polk State Eagle, and who knows, everyone that's here. They'll have fun on the floor as well with that. Back with more at halftime here in just a moment. It's Florida 4, Sonora 1. This is the Major Arena Soccer League presented by Bond Clinic on Great 38.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
We are the Bond Clinic.
We are primary care.
Comprehensive, personalized, state-of-the-art health care designed to serve you and your family.
We are specialists.
For over 70 years, the Bond Clinic physicians and our team of specialists deliver expert treatments and outstanding care. With over 90 providers, from urgent care to physical therapy, cardiology to urology, we put your health first. Healthcare excellence in our community. The Bond Clinic.
At the Spine Institute of Central Florida, we view surgery as a last resort. When needed, we employ the least invasive state-of-the-art spine surgical techniques to fix the problem at the source. Our highly trained experts provide the entire spectrum of non-surgical and surgical spine care all under one roof. Our unique approach ensures that you get the best results possible, maximize your recovery, and get back to what you love. Spine Institute of Central Florida. Trust nothing but the very best for your spine care.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Care Plus can help with a variety of Medicare Advantage plans, many $0 copays, and 20 years of Medicare experience. Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
Well, great to see the Tropics mascot Dewey make his 2019-20 debut. Kicking off the Mascot game here at the RP Funding Center. Dewey in hibernation this winter until coming out for this special occasion, and great to see him. One thing we didn't mention that is kind of important, or potentially important when we talk about that chase for first in the Eastern Conference, Robbie, is the fact that tiebreakers could come into play, and if Utica and Florida finish with the same record, they will not play each other during the regular season. So there is no head-to-head to go to the tiebreaker. So if those two clubs should finish tied atop the standings, and that's not out of the question, the difference would be the goal differential. And right now the Tropics have a fairly healthy lead in that aspect. 74, as you can see, the goal differential for the Tropics. Utica at 41, but you may see a situation here over the final 7-8 games of the season for any of these teams where they may have a game well in hand and still yet are going to push the gas pedal in the fourth quarter because they know goal differential might play a big part in deciding who plays who in the postseason.
Well, that's big. The goal differential, it's always big in the big tournaments around the world, and you talk about goal differential, and I think you notice in the first quarter, I'm certain it's on their mind because the Tropics were firing on all cylinders, and being 4-1 up, I think there's a long way to go. There's a lot of goals left in this game, but you're right. If there's an opportunity to claim first place through goal differential, you better believe the Tropics want that.
Of course, the Tropics can control their own destiny if they should win out. Not out of the question either, although they still have some difficult games. They would obviously control first place. Let's take a look at some of the first half highlights. And as we said, the Tropics came out smoking. Got that initial goal by Lucio Gonzaga.
Yeah, that was an easy one. He just kind of little dipsy-do, pushes it to his left, bottom right corner.
Then a couple of really pretty goals for the Tropics. Indoor goals. That's the finish by Joey Tavernese. What you didn't see, here it comes, is the setup. And then Guilherme with just a tremendous strike.
No, I love that one. The accuracy, the bend, the left-footed smash. That was a great goal.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he actually started out on this team as a defender his first year. And then by sheer desperation, they moved him to the forward line. Here's the fourth goal. A nice feed by Joey Tavernese. A goal and 2 assists by Tavernese in the first half. And Lucas Monaleris makes the very nice finish.
Yeah, I always like to see when target defenders get themselves in the box and create and be an offensive threat.
And that's something the Tropics have done well this year with Lucas Teixeira, Monaleris, and obviously Drew Ruggles. We'll be back and get you set for third quarter action in just a moment. It's the Florida Tropics 4 and Soleil de Sonora 1, presented by Bond Clinic. This is the Major Arena Soccer League on Grade 38.
Tropics fans, that goal was scored by Watson. At the end of this game, fans, Team Orange has defeated Team Teal by a score of 2-0. Tropics fans, let's make some noise for both teams and for all of our wonderful mascots.
Part of the record crowd, or at least it looks to be a record crowd here at the RP Funding Center this afternoon, enjoying our annual mascot game. I know the Lakeland Magic Swish got one of the goals, and I think Teriyaki Madness got the other. So good effort by those guys and gals, and I know the fans here at the RP Funding Center appreciate it. Let's turn our attention to the real soccer players now as the Florida Tropics get ready for second half action. Short-handed this afternoon. No Zach Reggett in the lineup if you're just joining us. He is out with a bit of a groin injury, nothing hugely serious, just kind of taking a physical and mental rest, if you will, this weekend to get ready for the late season playoff push. No Gordy Gerson, and that is a surprise. He came out and was fully expecting to play and tweaked a hip during the warm-up session, so he is not dressed. And Drew Ruggles not dressed this afternoon. A penalty point accumulation suspension for just one game being served here this afternoon. For Sonora, the big loss, Enrique Cañez did not make the trip. And Sonora has the same problem in reverse that some of the American teams have with visa issues. So Cañez not able to make the trip. I don't know if that was a visa issue or not specifically, but I know Sonora not always able to travel with all the players that they use in Mexico. Two of those players actually should have been playing for the Tropics this year. Willow Martinez and Victor Baez both signing as free agents with Florida this past offseason, and both now playing for Sonora because they were unable to get their visa issues resolved. And instead of penalizing them, if you will, by not allowing them to play at all, Florida, in essence, has loaned those two players to Sonora. But obviously, as part of that loan arrangement, Robbie, they are not allowed to dress against Florida here this afternoon, which certainly makes sense.
Yep.
But a lot of firepower on both sides of the floor missing.
Yeah, definitely. Cañez 30 goals, 10 assists. So I think the Tropics defenders are pretty grateful that he wasn't able to dress, because that's a ton of goals in the offensive third of the field.
But Sonora found their legs in that second quarter. It was one goal apiece after they really came out of the gate and got steamrolled in the first 15 minutes by Florida. We'll see how the Tropics play it out here in the third quarter. Two power plays in that first half, both belong to the Tropics. Got one power play goal, that was Guillerme. Pereiras on the intercept. Left side to Teixeira, who joins the offensive rush. Teixeira has it taken away by Avendano. Tavernese gets it back, tries to get it in front to Carvalho, couldn't squeeze it through. Good play by Manolares, but he falls, and this is going to create an opportunity for Sonora. Gonzalez will put it in front, knocked out of there by Silva, and then the zone cleared by Manolares.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a counterattack transition moment for Sonora.
Yeah, that was dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. Ball kind of ricocheted off the boards. Hugo Silva slaps it away.
Manolares slipped on the challenge, and for a brief moment, Sonora actually had a 3-on-1 opportunity. Alves with some pressure. Good ball ahead of the field to Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez being watched by Deroux. There's a shot, good save by Silva. Rebound in front, and Silva comes up big.
Big save from Silva, and also a good block shot from Daru.
On the rebound attempt, and Steven Daru right where he should have been. Rojo with it.
Yeah, credit to Sonora. They're coming into this second half sharp. A couple of half chances.
All the way back to their goalkeeper, Angel Rubalcava. Down the left side comes Armenta, being watched by Manfoot.
And one of the things you see with the Sonora defenders, they like to take players on from their own end. It's interesting tactic, a lot of dribbling from their defenders.
Alves tried to feed ahead to Gonzaga, but too far. Sonora comes back. That shot blocked by Tavernisi, out of play.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a friendly reminder, please be aware of gameplay as the ball can fly into the stands.
Here's that early flurry by Sonora.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah, Rafa was way too far off the forward. Actually, that didn't hit Daru. That was another save from Hugo Silva. So that was two great saves from Hugo.
Yeah, that was a very tough save off the foot of Christian Espinoza. Silva really didn't have a good look at it until the last minute. Armenta directing some traffic. Tavernisi picks him up. Armenti through the box. Gonzaga knocks it out of there. Comes back to Espinoza. Being watched up high by Daru. Sonora long possession here. Have had the best chances of the quarter. Here's a long shot. Wide by Dorame. Gonzaga will just clear the area.
Yeah, just in the first 3 minutes, Brian, the Tropics just don't have that same energy. Oftentimes when you're up 3 goals, you can lose a little bit of that energy, and you just want to protect the lead more than score.
This will be a restart from the top of the arc now for Sonora. So that is dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous, and their first opportunity gives us a chance to see what they can do on the top of the box situation.
Let's see who they send out here as a trigger man. Edson Sanchez, maybe. Nope, it'll be taken by Miller. And drove it right into the Tropics wall, which maintained a good presence.
Yeah, it was a great wall, didn't move. There's nothing worse than being in the wall and some guy just teeing it up from only 5 steps away from you. That was always the dreaded position to be in as a player.
Just kind of close your eyes and hope, but don't move. Don't give them that open. That's about your only job there for that precise moment. But it can be a painful one, you're right. Here's Miller.
A lot of possession for Sonora.
Yeah, this has been exactly, I think, how they drew it up at halftime. Certainly did not want to let Florida get their guns ablazing early again here like they were in the first quarter. Pereira's trying to get out of there with it, but again, Sonora with possession.
Yeah, and I think if you're a Tropics player just sitting back, 5 guys behind the ball, you're okay with this because there's going to be opportunities within this season where you're going to be defending for long periods of time. So you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable and just not having possession, getting 5 guys behind the ball.
It's going to be a corner kick here for Sonora, as the official said that shot was deflected out of play by one of the Tropics defenders. So again, a dangerous set piece moment here. Top of the arc, and that one by Dorame is spent halfway to Silver Springs.
Let's just see if the Tropics can get a foot on the ball, a little bit more possession. They've lacked it in the first 3.5, 4 minutes of this quarter. Get back to what they were doing in the first quarter, movement off the ball, interchanging, moving the ball quickly, and getting their line changes a little bit quicker and sharper.
Yeah, my neck's getting tired. I've been looking to the left for the first 4 minutes here. It's been all Sonora. Got great chances. One really good one that Hugo Silva made his best save of the game on. Gonzaga gets it back to Teixeira, and he'll reset the offense all the way back to Hugo, who comes out over the yellow line now. Chips it ahead for Teixeira, but that will go off the boards and not a play.
Yeah, we go back to Ruggles again. A guy that's composed at the back. And right now, Sonora's pressing a little bit higher.
Rubalcava gets it to the midfield line. Sonora going to keep possession here. Press forward. Long ball, Silva with a good save. Rebound opportunity by Aragon goes out of play.
That's a really good opportunity from Sonora. Miss hit, a little bit of a whiff on the ball, but good initial save from Hugo Silva.
Here's a look at the replay on that ball by Ismael Rojo. Long ball looking for Pereiras.
An interesting tactic from Clay Roberts right now. They're not looking to play out of the back. I don't think Clay's comfortable with the personnel in terms of breaking pressure. They're basically just saying, Hugo, when you get it, launch the ball down the field.
Here's Miller with it. In the corner to Hernandez and back on top to Miller. Rob Acosta out there on defense now for one of his rare shifts, who got the late call after the Gordy Gerson injury in warmups. Miller going to pick up that long shot off the boards. Pereiras with some defensive pressure. Miller loses it to Carvalho. Carvalho, though, loses it to Pereiras, and let's see if Teixeira can track it down. Pair of fives there, Miller and Teixeira, and Miller going to win the battle at least for the moment. Teixeira still pressuring, and Lucas going to be called for the push.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy play from the Tropics, defending for long periods of time, but you've got to give credit to Sonora. They're coming into the second half, looking a lot sharper, movement of the balls crisper, and they're making it difficult on the Tropics as well to get out. They're pressing high.
And you want to be patient here if you're the Tropics. Don't take any foolish penalties. They have been guilty of a few blue cards in recent games that have been just plays where they've been a little more aggressive than they needed to. Here's a chance coming in. Shot, goal.
Wow.
Carlos Hernandez with a good crack.
Well, that's a great goal. Launch from the keeper off the chest into the path of the striker. First time finish. Nothing Hugo Silva could have done there, but you can sense it, you can smell it right now, yeah. Brian. Yeah, Hernandez, I mean, that's a great goal for Hernandez. And Rob Acosta, he's not getting a ton of shifts, but he's coming in cold. He's not able to get a real feel and flow in the game. So he got caught kind of stepping too early, and a great little chest pass in the path of Hernandez. 2-goal lead.
Well earned, as you said, by Sonora. They've had much the better of the play here for the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. In fact, almost all the play.
Well, I would say in the third quarter, certainly the better team, and they started to come into it towards the end of the second quarter in the first half.
Here's a chance now, a 3-on-2 for the Tropics if they hurry. Pereiras on his bike over the yellow line, but good defensive recovery by Espinoza. She got back to break up that opportunity, but Pereiras will steal it right back.
Well, now this game, Brian, has a little bit of an edge to it. It's a 2-goal lead, yes.
It's funny, that San Diego game a couple of weeks ago here, we could sense how different it was in the second half in Florida's favor. Today, we can sense how it's turned in Sonora's favor.
Well, part of it too, Brian, is when you have teams that travel a great distance, oftentimes it does take 2 quarters to get your legs back into this game.
And here's another counter opportunity. This is Armenta, and he's taken down, no whistle. Teixeira will come back for the Tropics. Tried to feed it ahead for Alvis, but a nice defensive play by Aragon. Aragon back to the yellow line for Sonora. Taken out of there by Tavernisi. Then a long shot and a knuckleball. It was not an easy save by Hugo Silva, but he got a piece of it off the foot of Dorame. Break in the action, and I think Clay Roberts will have a thing or two to talk to his club about. It has not been a particularly strong start here for Florida, as we've got a yellow card being issued as we go to break to one of the either Sonora players or someone off the bench, but no power play opportunity coming up. Back in just a moment, presented by Bond Clinic. This is the major arena soccer league in Florida, Tropics Soccer on Great 38. Stay tuned.
Please direct your attention to center field and rise up.
We are the Bond Clinic.
We are your medical services.
Comprehensive, personalized, state-of-the-art healthcare designed to serve you and your family.
We are community.
For over 70 years, the Bond Clinic physicians and our team of specialists deliver expert treatments and outstanding care. With over 90 providers, from pediatrics to diabetic care, lab services to sports medicine, we put your health first. Healthcare excellence in our community. The Bond Clinic.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland.
Back here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Brian Ackley along with Robbie Aristodemo. Hope you're enjoying the Major Arena Soccer League action as these two teams make the final push to the MASL postseason. Big game for both. Tropics trying to hold their lead in the Eastern Conference, and Sonora trying to hold off the rest of the West, currently in fourth in that conference, the fourth and final playoff spot. The top 4 teams in each conference make the MASL postseason. It's a familiar place to Sonora, not so familiar to the Tropics. They have never made the MASL playoffs. Here comes Hernandez, loses it, and Guillerme will pick it up to Carvalho. Guillerme, and Carvalho going to be called for the takedown. Restart for Sonora here at the midfield area.
Yeah, Sonora, just looking at Sonora, every time their defenders do get the ball, they like to take the attacking defensive players on. So it becomes a little bit difficult at times for Tavernisi, Guillerme. They've got to track runners all the way on the dribble, which makes it very difficult.
As we said, very often Sonora and Monterey don't play quite exactly the way a lot of the MASL teams do in the East, so it's a little bit hectic and disjointed. Clay Roberts was pretty honest before the game. He said, I don't know what to expect exactly. And after that frenetic first quarter, which was all Florida, Sonora has more than held their own. Still a long way to go in this one. Miller with it at the midfield line. Sonora and the Tropics both want to get some new legs out there. Tavernisi comes out with some high pressure. Watching Armenta. Back heel into the zone. Hernandez picks it up. Hernandez, the goal scorer here for Sonora, has it at the yellow line. Gets it on the left side to Sanchez. Sanchez down low, and Silva able to cover up and, more importantly, not give up any rebound, with Carlos Hernandez lurking right on his doorstep.
Yeah, and I think right now there's a lot of defensive work for the Tropics players. So you've got to be careful, because once the fourth quarter starts to creep in, legs start to get heavy, you're a little bit more tired and fatigued. Possession is going to be critical for the Tropics, and just as we said that, Gonzaga kicks it over.
I mean, literally, we're 10 minutes in, and I don't think the Tropics have even had anything close to a good scoring chance.
No, they're just literally no possession. They're defending for long periods of time. And when you defend for long periods of time, your legs get heavy. You can't sub and change with your line mates quick enough. So everything's kind of a stagnant defensive effort for the Tropics right now.
Foul away from the ball, and I think this one is going to go against Armenta. So the Tropics will get a restart at the Sonora yellow line. This is about as much possession as the Tropics have had in the Soleil end of the field this whole quarter.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Reggett, you look at Ruggles, you look at Matt Clare, you got Gordy Gerson. He's got a lot of key guys out, and it's starting to show.
Gonzaga with it. He'll lay it off to Pereiras, but couldn't get it teed up in time as Manuel Aragon came over to step in front of the Pereiras shot. But very good point. The Tropics missing a ton of their firepower.
One more time, fans.
And you also have a rookie right now. You've got a rookie that's never played indoor as your target forward in William.
Gonzaga tried to dummy that through, but nobody there except the Sonora player. Long into the corner for Aragon, and Hugo Silva puts that one almost through the back wall here at the RP Funding Center. So
just missed that wall by a couple inches, Brian.
It'll be a restart from the top of the arc here. Tropics will set up that three-man wall again. It'll be Sanchez as the trigger man. Sanchez lays it off in the corner, shot and a goal. And suddenly Sonora within one.
Wow, Hugo Silva's, he's kind of kicking himself right now because he gave up the top of the box and I think went down a little bit early, but credit to Sonora. That's a simple free kick. Played to the left, top corner, just above Hugo Silva's reach.
David Gonzalez with the finish. So
and those are difficult, Brian, because right now Sonora's overloading Teixeira's side. So Lucas has two players to mark. Does he go to the first guy or does he go to the second guy? He elected to go to the first, and the ball just went past, and it was actually an easy finish for Sonora.
All Florida in the first, and Sonora has been all over the Tropics here in the third. The second quarter pretty even. Only 2 goals of the half belong to the Soleil. Aragon tried to set up Avendano. There's a long shot towards Silva and a save. Easy one by Hugo there. Long way to go here. Tropics have only lost at home once this year. That was back on December 28th to Milwaukee, the only team that has beaten Florida this year. Both by 1 goal. Almost through to Carvalho for a breakaway. Guilherme tracks it down and makes sure Avendano didn't get there for an opportunity.
Yeah, right now Sonora can smell a little bit of blood.
Yeah, they were invigorated, no question about it.
You know, what do the Tropics have to do to get themselves back in? I mean, they're stretched thin right now. There's a lot of positions that are going in twos. They're starting to show a little bit more fatigue.
Good ball from Silva ahead to Lucas Montoleros. Montoleros in front. Tavernese goal!
That's big, Brian. Big, big goal. Again, a good transition moment. Hugo Silva down the boards to Montoleros, makes a long run. Montoleros just fires it in on goal. And Tavernese, like a good forward does, is kind of lurking in the box.
Yeah, great ball from Hugo Silva, and Tavernese making the run. Boy, what an afternoon for Joey Tavernese. 2 goals and 2 assists, and a big one for the Tropics to stem some of the Sonora momentum here. 5-3 Florida.
Yeah, that's a big goal for Tavernese. Yeah, just a nice redeflection. You know, it's a redirect, a good smash across the box from Lucas Montoleros. It starts with Hugo Silva breaking out.
And that was really the key to the whole play, the great outlet from Silva to Montoleros. Here's a chance again, Guilherme, top of the arc, shot never got through. Again, it was an outlet from Silva, that time to Gonzaga, that set up that chance. That literally was the only chance the Tropics have had all quarter, and they buried it. Or certainly their best chance by far. Alvis a little too toasty on the challenge.
Yeah, and I think coming into the second half, Clay Roberts has made a conscious effort for Hugo Silva to play forward a lot quicker. I think in the first quarter, they were looking to build and play out of the back, and that resulted in more possession.
William Ayang out there now again for the Tropics. Rookie making his first ever indoor start. Signed by Florida a couple of weeks ago. Has been training with the club for the last couple of weeks. Long shot goes out of play. 6'2" forward out of Cameroon. We'll head to the bench. Where's number 9?
Yeah, he certainly has a good body type for a target forward. It's going to take him some time to get acclimated to the indoor game. Certainly much different than outdoor.
Victor Pereira's taking the outlet from Silva. Collision, and Daru is going to go to the box.
Well, we just talked about Hugo Silva playing long balls, and that time it kind of bit them back because it was a quick turnover, blue card.
First power play opportunity of the afternoon for Sonora. As we've said, the Tropics have the best penalty kill unit in the MASL. There's another look at the blue card.
Yeah, and there's a high foot from Daru, a little bit of a rash, clumsy challenge. I think that's a good call from the referees. Now it's an opportunity for the man down. You know, again, I was fortunate to play on the man down. Really, actually not that fortunate because there's a lot of running, but we would always have the mentality of we're going to try to score on the man down and break out quickly.
Tropics do not have a shorthanded goal this year. Monaleris will take the outlet here from Silva. Try and run a little clock. Being challenged in there by Adrian Miller. Now Alvis. Finally, Silva clears it away from Gonzalez. Ahead to Teixeira. Teixeira. 1 against 2. Teixeira with a shot. Rubalcaba gets a hand on that one. Pretty good effort by Lucas Teixeira.
Yeah, good time wasting. As we just mentioned, looking to be offensive minded on the man down can certainly help you, because ultimately Sonora's playing their more attacking 5 players, so they may be a little bit disjointed defensively when they lose the ball.
On top here, Sanchez. Sonora looking to pull back within a goal here. Sanchez being watched by Teixeira. There's a shot blocked in there by Monaleris.
That's a good block from Monaleris. You know, the Tropics are they're playing a diamond for the most part. Right now it's looking like a box, a 2-2 formation, but oftentimes it goes back with Lucas at the top of the diamond.
It was Adrian Miller that Silva made the save on, and Alvis able to clear the zone.
And I think the way Sonora's set up with 3 players at the top actually suits the diamond well. If Rafa can get side-to-side movement defensively, he's got to get on both sides.
Miller misses long, and then another shot goes out of play. And Silva will get the kick in here with just 15 seconds left in the penalty to Daru.
Yeah, that's a big penalty to kill. You know, there's a substitution now. You get Lucas off the bench with Sandoval. You bring in Tavernese to waste some time as a target forward. And most likely this is a big man down kill for the Tropics.
As we said, the Tropics best in the league in that department at 83%. Monaleris with some pressure, and it goes over the boards. It'll be a kick in for the Tropics now with just 7 seconds to go in the Daru penalty. Rubalcaba will pick it up. Nice outlet quickly on the left side. Here comes Avendano. Has it knocked away. Good defensive play by Pereira and the Tropics. Sandoval out there now. Alvis. Minute to go here in the third.
Every time I pick my head up, you got Lucas Teixeira. He's back on the field. You know, they're going in 2s at the back. He's on the man up. He's on the man down. So right now, he's doing everything for the Tropics.
Can't tell you how good he has been this year. He has really elevated his game to a different level. One of the original Fab 5, we call him, for the Tropics, still with the team.
And he was always obviously a very good futsal player, but it takes everybody, you know, 50, 60 games to really get their footprint on the indoor game. And he's been exceptional this season. You're right, Brian.
Still one opportunity here for Sonora perhaps to push forward. Monaleris goes down. Gonzaga with the defensive pressure. Now here's a chance in front, laid off to Aragon. Shot saved by Silva, and a good one.
That's a great save from Silva.
Big one, 9 seconds, and Aragon had an open look. And there's the horn. Time will expire on a good third quarter for Sonora, but a late goal by Joey Tavernisi lets a little air out of the Sonora balloon, but still 15 minutes to go, and anything can happen, and we know it can and probably will in indoor soccer. Presented by Bond Clinic. This is the Florida Tropics and the Major Arena Soccer League on Great 38. Stay tuned. Back for the final 15 minutes in just a moment.
Fans, it's now time for the Planet Fitness in-game fitness challenge, Mascot edition. Please welcome to the field our two teams. First, Team Orange on the left, made up of Watson and Dewey. And Team Teal on the right, consisting of George Jenkins, the Eagle, and Polk State's Charlie the Eagle. These two lucky teams have competed in 3 fitness challenges, including push-ups, sprinting, sit-ups, and most importantly, finishing off by scoring a goal. Contestants, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! All right, fans.
So Clay Roberts with some last second advice here for his club as the Tropics get ready for the final 15 minutes. 5-3 Florida, getting a big goal from Joey Tavernisi at the 10:43 mark. That stopped the stretch of 3 straight goals by the Soleil. And Robbie Aristodemo, we've got 15 to go. What do you expect here?
Well, I expect a lot from Sonora. I think they're only down 2 goals. They're on the road. They got a real opportunity to take the first place Tropics at home, so I expect them to put pressure. And then obviously as the time starts to tick down, when does the 6th attacker come out if it's still a 2-goal lead? But they're very much in this game. I expect high pressure, high tempo, high intensity.
Hugo Silva and Victor Pereira's having a little strategy session there with the man of the match so far for the Tropics, Joey Tavernisi, with 2 goals and 2 assists. Big night for Joey and coming back from the eye injury. And Hugo Silva, as Robbie has pointed out so adeptly here again this afternoon, has been such an important part of getting that offensive going for Florida. And he and Victor and Joey perhaps cooking something up there. We'll see if it pays a dividend over the final quarter.
Yeah, I think Hugo Silva and so far, Joey Tavernisi, they've been the stars of the game up to this point. There's certainly a lot of time left, but he's been good with his distribution. He's been playing very direct. I think that's more information from Clay Roberts. Let's bypass Sonora's press and see if we can attack that way.
Hugo Silva, what we saw just a moment ago there, leads the MASL with his 3.36 goals against average. Also has 5 assists this year, or 6 assists rather. Gives you an idea of just how good he has been and how important he's been offensively to the Tropics. Sonora would love that first goal here in the 4th quarter to really put the pressure on. Alvis with it. Next goal could be very big. Tropics could get a little breathing room, although a 3-goal lead is certainly not safe indoors, but looks a lot nicer than 1 up there. So we'll see who gets it. Gonzaga with it. Gonzaga lays it all the way back to Silva. Gonzaga has the goal here this afternoon. Ball into the offensive third, but nobody home for the Tropics. Sandoval with some pressure. Montoleris will collect a loose ball at midfield.
That's good composure from Lucas Montoleris, not getting rattled with someone on his back. Again, you can see Sonora, they're pressing a little higher, they're starting to creep a little bit.
Silva will come across his yellow line now. Drive it deep into the corner for Guillerme. Took a funny bounce off the dasher boards, hit right at the top of the boards there. And Guillerme not able to control, but Carreras picks it up, feeds it off to Victor. Shot off the near boards on the short side. Got deflected just before it got there.
That's a nice little, little slip ball from Guillerme.
Little chip attempt there from Sanchez, but it was wide by a few feet. Long ball down the floor looking for Eyang. William Eyang making his first start ever here for the Tropics. Manfoot with pressure on Rubalcaba. Comes all the way out to Montoleris. He will take possession. Trouble here perhaps as Silva comes out. Look out, Silva off his line. Long shot. What a defensive play by Sandoval. Defensive play of the game by Yoshio Sandoval as Hugo Silva was cut off the line. And instead of a 5-4 game at the moment, it's still 5-3 thanks to Yoshio Sandoval.
Well, Sandoval in the right place at the right time, doesn't give up on the play. A little bit casual play from Lucas Montoleris, playing a slow ball back to Hugo Silva. Hugo Silva's forced to come off his line, hit the ball off the boards, and it's literally almost an open net if it wasn't for Sandoval.
It was Sanchez who took the shot, and Sandoval playing the role of Superman there for the Tropics.
Well, and he's got to feel good about that. He's just kind of finding his way into this Tropics lineup.
Came over in a trade with the Orlando Seawolves, middle of the season. Very good defensive player. Certainly has a role here for the Tropics, no question. Today and going forward. Corner kick to the left of Silva here. Good play by Montoleris as he stuck a foot in there to knock it out of the Florida end of the field. Sonora will get possession right back, however. Eyang with some pressure on Rojo. There's a chance for Aragon now. Pushes it a little too far ahead. Silva thought about coming out, but Aragon will control it. Lays it off. Shot never got through as Manfoot got a piece. There's a rebound chance and a goal. Tropics a little disorganized in their own end there. And I think it was Armenta who finally got the rebound.
Well, we'll get a chance to see the replay, but nice finish in the bottom corner. Ball kind of, again, it goes off Manfoot. Manfoot tries to block the shot, and unfortunately the block shot results into a nice ball right into the path of the Sonora attacker. Not much Hugo Silva could have done there. That was a great finish. This game continues to get more interesting as the time ticks away. Only a 1-goal game, 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was actually Gonzalez again, his second of the half. So Daniel Gonzalez gets the goal. And yep, a 1-goal game here for the Tropics now. They have not been in a lot of those lately, although they were Sunday in Milwaukee when they fell in overtime. Never had an overtime game here in Lakeland, and frankly just soon keep it that way. Carreras drives it in for Tavernese. Good step up by Alves, and Alves going to be whistled for the challenge.
Didn't look much into that play. I thought Rafa kind of stepped in. Good timing. Referee saw it differently. Well, now things become really interesting, Brian. We got just under 12 minutes to go. It's 5-4 Tropics. And Sonora's really, credit to them. Long trip over to the East Coast, all the way to Florida. And for me, they've been right in this game since the second quarter.
Yeah, for sure. They've been every bit the Tropics equal here over the last 2 quarters plus. Montoleris going to track it down. Silva comes out. Chance shot, never quite got through as Sanchez let it fly. Another chance in front. Teixeira going to track it down. Can't get possession though. Sonora has it. Teixeira tries to clear the area and does. But that just will temporarily take a little of the pressure off, and Sonora will continue to possess here. Sanchez has it knocked out of there by Pereiras, and unfortunately for the Tropics goes out of play.
And it did look like Pereiras was just inches behind his own yellow line, so I think it looks like a top of the box, which is not something you want to give away in the fourth quarter in a one-goal game.
Yeah, very dangerous moment here. Everyone on the Sonora bench was calling for it.
Yep.
And Manny Ortiz and Kermit Quisenberry sorting it out and awarding the restart here. So Carvalho, Tavernese, and looks like Pereiras will make up the wall here.
Yeah, they scored on their last top of the box. They overloaded a side.
This time they overload the right. There's a shot, never got through. Good work by that wall of Pereiras, Carvalho, and Tavernese to hold tight and not allow any shooting lanes through there.
Yeah, and I think if you're Sonora, you're disappointed with that top of the arc.
Here's a chance shot, and that one just bounces wide as Aragon made a bid to tie it.
I think Clay Roberts has got to make some tough decisions right now because legs do look heavy. There's been a lot of lines that have been going in twos. So as the fatigue starts to set in, you may have to make a couple of changes and tweaks to the lineup.
Monolera's taken down, and it'll be a foul, not a blue card.
It was close because, for me, Brian,
because it might have created a 2-on-1.
That's why I think I would have pulled the blue card because of that fact.
I think Manny Ortiz thought about it briefly, but there was a lot of contact both ways there for a good 4 or 5 seconds. And here's Machado with it. Machado's taken down, getting a little chippy here.
Well, this game certainly now is starting to feel more like a playoff game where both teams know this is critical. This is a big game because obviously Utica City's lurking. The Blast are lurking. Getting that first place is critical in terms of home field and who you can play. In one game, one win could change
literally
everything.
It could be just one win or loss over the final third here of the season could be the difference. Utica's got some games that are going to be tough for them as well. So does Milwaukee. The Tropics have to go out west next weekend for 2 in Tacoma as Machado tries to push it ahead. Cleared out of there by...
Yeah, there's the top of the box, Brian. So
Rojo knocked it over the boards from inside the yellow line, so it'll be a restart at the top of the arc here for Florida.
Yeah, and that's good pressure from the youngster Machado. And I think if I'm Clay Roberts, I'm probably going to take a timeout here because this is a one-goal game, 9 minutes to go. This is critical that they get this right. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a timeout.
We'll see. Nope, it'll be Pereiras over to Carvalho. Shot, goal!
Great set-piece goal. We've talked about it. Those are critical, and that's a double pass. It goes one way, then it goes across to the other side. Great finish from Carvalho.
Well, they didn't need the timeout because they knew exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that was definitely a set-piece. Victor's not even looking to shoot. Switches the point of attack.
Great ball from Pereiras, and Carvalho with the far post finish. Rubalcaba got a piece of it actually, but Carvalho powers it home for his 17th of the season. We told you he was due, and what a big goal and a big moment for Ricardo Carvalho.
Yeah, that was a big goal. Obviously, they knew what they were doing on the set piece. They had it planned prior, so credit to Clay Roberts because that's something that they've been working on in training, and that's not easy to do. Credit to them. That's a big goal.
Yeah, no question about that. That's as pretty a set-piece goal as we've seen the Tropics score all year. Rob Acosta out there with it. Gets it ahead to Carvalho. Carvalho's got Tavernese with him. Carvalho 1v1 at the yellow line. Shot, and Rubalcaba makes the save and is able to hold on to the rebound. Well, that'd have been something.
That was a nice, maybe quadruple step over from Ricardo. Nice shot. Equally good save.
Whistle and a foul. Tropics with their 2-goal lead. Only the second goal the Tropics have scored since the first quarter.
I'm actually surprised.
Rather.
Really surprised that's not a blue card because Carvalho was well beaten.
Could have been. Could have been.
Again, looking 1v1 again from their defenders.
Carvalho with the pressure on Armenta. Comes now to Miller. Back to Armenta. Moves around Carvalho, gets it in front, headed out of there by Teixeira. Still a long way to go. 8.5 minutes. Of course, at some point, Sonora would go to a 6th attacker, but we're probably a good 3 or 4 minutes away from that if the score does not change.
Yeah, at this point now, if you're a Tropics player, you get behind the ball, don't get scored on in transition, pressure cover, 5 guys behind the ball, and just work, work, work.
Yep, that's going to be the key here over the final 8, no question. Teixeira knocks it out from the box. Miller will track it all the way down as Gonzaga creates some pressure. Rubalcava back to Miller. Tavernisi trying to step up, does create the turnover now. Gonzaga, and he's taken off the ball. No whistle as Hernandez makes the good play.
Yeah, that was a good tackle. No call there. I know the Tropic fans wanted something, but that was a well-timed tackle.
All ball by Hernandez. Rubalcava now able to come over the halfway line. Drills it all the way into the end of the Florida end of the field, and Aragon was in front, just missed the redirect. Snuck in behind that Tropics defense. Good block there by Tavernisi. Down to 7:10 to play, and we'll take our final timeout of the afternoon. So we'll see if the Tropics have what it takes to hold on for 7 minutes and 10 seconds. They lead it by a score of 6-4, presented by Bond Clinic. This is the Florida Tropics on Great 38.
Your Syntec smart home works with devices like the Amazon Echo Dot.
Alexa, turn on all lights.
Many of your home's features can be controlled by giving simple voice commands.
Alexa, set temperature to 72 degrees. Alexa, play my playlist.
For extra convenience, you can also control your home's systems with your smartphone apps.
Major Arena Soccer League action is at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland with the Florida Tropics. For amazing family entertainment and non-stop action that doesn't bust the budget, go to fltropics.com and click tickets. So rise up, Florida, and join the ever-growing Tropics soccer movement. Go to fltropics.com and click tickets.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
Bond Clinic is proud to be the official medical provider of Florida Tropics Soccer. Our sports medicine team is dedicated to keeping the Tropics healthy and on the field. Bond Clinic celebrating 71 years now of healthcare to the Polk County community. Let us know how we can partner with you to keep your family healthy. Bond Clinic, proud to be the presenting sponsor and official medical provider of the Florida Tropics. Well, fasten your seatbelts. 7 minutes to go here in Lakeland. A 6-4 game as Sonora has battled back from an early 3-0 deficit. Tropics have never trailed in this one. It's never been tied, but a little close for comfort here is, holy cow, train wreck in the Florida end of the field and a couple of players down.
Again, you're looking at possible
Armenta
concussion protocol maybe. Looks like is that Perez?
Yeah, it was Victor. as Armenta came barreling in there out of control and collided with Pereiras, and it did look like head-to-head contact. So both medical staffs are out there. Here's a replay. Oh, yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, head-to-head.
Right in the schnoz for Pereiras.
Yeah, both players are still down. Certainly worrisome if you're both coaches.
A little bit of contact there from Carvalho, but Armenta really went barreling in there out of control and caught Pereiras right in the face.
Yeah, and I think Armenta, he's been getting fired up. Him and Carvalho have been going at it this fourth quarter. And Armenta's been a lot of 1v1 situations. He's been complaining a lot to the referees as well. So he's very fired up right now. And he seems to be okay right now. The question is Victor Pereiras.
Well, Victor certainly took the worst of it, and he's still down. The official's going to talk this situation over and see if perhaps there was anything warranted. Manny Ortiz and Kermit Quisenberry on the floor doing a good job again here this evening. And Victor Pereiras up, much to the delight of this big crowd. Can't afford to go any thinner on the roster right now. Gordy Gerson hurt during the warm-ups, so he did not end up dressing.
There's another player we forgot to mention, Brian, and Anthony Rico, a little bit of an ankle injury.
Right,
so that's another veteran
player. I forgot
player.
totally that Anthony's not in. He's the kind of guy in this game when the Tropics were struggling there in the third quarter can come out with his energy and enthusiasm to light a spark.
Yeah, that's why it is so critical to have depth in this league, because at every season during that, there's always one point where you've got 2, 3, 4, even 5 players that are out, and you've just got to kind of put a Band-Aid over it and try to get to the end in one piece, and then try to ride your momentum into the playoffs and win a championship.
Is there no end to the uses of cell phones in our society today? Now it's concussion protocol with the cell phone. Good idea.
Yeah.
Use the flashlight function and check out Victor Pereiras, and hopefully Victor's going to be okay and we'll be back out there. Certainly nothing to fool around with. Nice ball off the boards by Alves to Carvalho, but he was a little tight and couldn't really get the shot away that he wanted.
No, that's nice to see from Alves, because that's a savvy indoor play off the boards in a different type of angle. Credit to him for thinking ahead and using the boards.
Whether you're locked out, key to replacement, or spare key for your car or truck, or
6.5 to play here.
Well, it looks like they're doing the concussion protocol with Victor Pereiras with the doctors on the sideline. We can see from our viewpoint, and it looks like he's okay, which is great news. But you also got to start thinking about now, Brian, 6 attacker, 4 Sonora. Pull their keeper, make things even more interesting.
Dorame to outwork Manfoot there for the loose ball. But it'll go out of play and it'll belong to Florida. So you have Sonora certainly will be thinking that in the next minute or two, probably maybe 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes to go, somewhere in that time frame. Down 2.
Yeah, I think you give yourself 2 minutes to try to get back into this game. If not, you've got to pull your keeper.
Rob Acosta steps up. Here's a race for the ball. Daru with it. Nice move by Espinoza. And then Tavernese comes back, and a goal deflected off Daru by Aragon, and Sonora back within 1.
Well, we just talked about it. If they don't get a goal, they've got to pull the goalie. They've got the goal within the 2 minutes. Now it's a 1-goal game, so at this point, you don't pull your keeper.
Nope.
You go all the way to the end. Maybe in the last minute or so, you might think about that, but we're in a real dogfight with 6 minutes to go. That's a nice goal as well.
Great individual effort by Christian Espinoza to work it in front, and then Aragon was able to send it towards goal, and it deflected off the Daru in for the 5th Sonora goal this afternoon. So it is now, again, a 1-goal game. Sonora had it to within 1 at 4-3.
Well, this big crowd is really in for a treat this last 6 minutes, because it's been a great game. A stalemate, so to speak, for the first 4 quarters. Only a 1-goal game.
Gonzaga gets it ahead. Guillermo to Carvalho. Carvalho off the boards in front. Goal! Another board pass by the Tropics for a goal, and another beauty by Lucio Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's just a composed finish from the veteran Gonzaga. inside of the foot off the boards from Ricardo Carvalho. We'll get a replay here in a second, but just a savvy veteran play off the boards. Your midfielder, General Gonzaga, lurking in the box. And that's just not that easy of a finish because the ball's coming at a good pace off the boards at a certain height. So Gonzaga had to show some real skill to score that goal.
He had just a half a step on Irving Murillo, the defender, and that's all he needed to knock it in on the pretty assist by Ricardo Carvalho. And just like that, the Tropics have their 2-goal lead back.
Hey, Brian, do we start talking about six attacker again?
Yeah, right. A big one for Gonzaga. Pereira steps up. Pereira's on the counter. Gets it over to Machado. Machado trying to create an opportunity. Pereira still keeps it alive. Pereira's shot and a save by Rubalcava. Knocks it over the glass and out of play.
And Victor looks healthy, sharp, lively. Great left-footed cannon. He can shoot with both feet. Equally good saves from Sonora's keeper.
Those 2 goals were just 16 seconds apart. Pereiras on the restart in front. Tavernese takes a whack. He couldn't make a clean effort at it. Ahead of the field is Armenta. Elvis trying to get back, and Rafa does a good job to recover. Now Pereiras with it. Pereiras 2-on-1 if he can keep it alive. Pereiras taken down, no whistle. Surprised that wasn't at least a foul there. Pereiras again on the steal. Pereiras to Alves. Rafa needed to move there and didn't. Here's a 3-on-2 back the other way. Shot off the near post. Just wide by about 6 inches. There's Aragon with a shot. Teixeira trying to get it out of there for the Tropics. Can't do it. 4.5 to go. 7-5 Florida. Buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. Aragon directing traffic out there. Machado with him. Machado, good defensive play. Still loose in there. Knocked over the boards as Hernandez was lurking, but it'll be a kick in here for Florida.
Yeah, that's good work for Machado. Good 1v1, forcing the Sonora player wide to the boards.
Wholesale changes both ways now. Carvalho back out there.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught on a line change where you're on too long. Your legs are dead tired. You've got to be sharp.
Here's Gonzaga. Gonzaga has it taken away by Avendano. Carvalho will collect it at the midfield circle. So a big goal and a big assist for Ricardo here in the second half. Looked for all the world like he would get one in the first quarter. Didn't, but saved it for an important time here in the fourth. Acosta on Aragon. Here's a chance and a good save by Silva as Espinoza broke in. Here's a long shot wide by Rojo. He gets it back. Dorame being watched by Guilherme. Cleared ahead. Gonzaga didn't possess and gave it right back to Rojo. Here's ahead of the field to Guilherme. Guilherme with that big left foot shot. Goal!
Wow. You called it, Brian. Big left foot smash. Massive goal for Guilherme. Good work defensively from Sandoval to break up that opportunity for Sonora. Little transition counter moment.
What a bomb by Guilherme to the top right corner of the net, and the Florida Tropics have some breathing room finally at 8-5.
Anytime Guilherme can get that left foot off, it's got a real good opportunity going in. That's 2 really, really high-level quality goals from Guilherme. The bend in the first quarter, and then now the fourth quarter rocket to the top corner. You've got to think now, Brian, 6 attacker. They've got 3 minutes. They're down 3 goals. They're certainly not out of it, especially with the quality that Sonora showed in this second half. They've created a lot of chances.
Sonora has called a timeout just for that express purpose, not only to talk a little strategy here, but certainly to get the 6th attacker on as well. So yeah, still plenty of time with 3:12 to go. But after the Soleil had pulled twice to within a goal, the Tropics now with their 3-goal cushion back. They have not led by more than 3 goals at any point here. Beg your pardon, they actually had a 4-0 lead in the second quarter. So Sonora has battled all the way back from a 4-0 deficit to pull within one twice, but now the Tropics cushion is back at 3. 3 more home games remaining for the Tropics here in the regular season. They all come in March. They will all be Sunday matinees here at the RP Funding Center. We hope to see you out here. Got a huge crowd out here this afternoon. St. Louis, the Ambush, will be in town on March 8th. Kansas City still very much in the hunt for a playoff spot in the East. We'll be here on March 15th, the Attack in town, and then Turlock will finish things out, their first ever visit here to Lakeland on Sunday, March 22nd. The playoffs would start the following weekend, and the Tropics would be guaranteed at least a home game. The playoff format in the MASL this season is each round is a best of 2, if you will. Each team will get a home game, and then if the teams split those games, the Tropics would play a 15-minute mini game with whoever their opponent would be against if they split to decide the winner of the series. So it's high drama, high excitement, and we hope to see you out here at the RP Funding Center for the Florida Tropics' first ever postseason. Their magic number is 3 right now. It would drop to 2 for a playoff berth. That would just guarantee one of the 4 playoff spots. Not certainly first place in the conference. Here's a chance, shot and a goal. Pretty setup and a finish by Aragon. So there's one of the 3 that Sonora needs to get back in it. And as we said, a lot of time. And for those of you new to indoor soccer, a lot of goals in this game, especially when you're pressing with a 6th attacker, can be goals either way. And Sonora still very much alive.
Well, that's just a great header across the box, first time finish. That's also another wonder goal. We've seen a lot of great goals. You don't see too many better than that. It's a first time finish off the post and in. And 2-goal game with 2:46 left. Certainly a lot to play for Sonora.
Yeah, sometimes you see a lot of crazy goals in this game that are just bad luck and just indoor soccer, human pinball. But you're right, we've seen a lot of really good quality goals here tonight, and that was another. So the Tropics far from out of the woods here, as Silva will play it ahead to Guilherme. Guilherme will get it back to Gonzaga. The Tropics not in any huge hurry, but they don't want to get too lackadaisical either and make a mistake, as Carvalho is pushed down by Carlos Hernandez.
Yeah, it's that fine line of possession and playing it into your target forward to waste time off. Because if you're trying to keep possession and you're allowing Sonora to continue to press higher and higher, there may be a turnover. At this point, for me, with 2 minutes to go, I like to find the target forward, bring all the Sonora defenders back, and keep possession in the other team's half.
Teixeira will send it into the zone to Guilherme. So there's the target forward. Guilherme will play it back out to Gonzaga. Yeah, it's that dreaded prevent defense in football. You don't really want to go into that total of a shell. You want to have good possession, good crisp passing, and as you said, when you get the opportunity to penetrate into the offensive third, go ahead and do that, as the Tropics do here to Guilherme.
No, this is textbook right now. They're keeping the ball. They're finding Guilherme. That's the second time they found their target forward. And what that does is it drops the entire defense back for Sonora and makes it that much more difficult to press.
Tropics have run a good minute off the clock here since Sonora got the 6th goal. Long ball again now into Tavernese. He's looking for a hat trick, but not goal scoring on the mind of Joey at the moment. Gets it back out to Acosta. Clay Roberts showing a lot of confidence in Rob Acosta, having him out here on the final 90 seconds. Has spot shifted him this afternoon. Teixeira with it. Teixeira gets it deep into the Sonora end of the field. Tavernese with some pressure. First time the Soleil has had possession in about 90 seconds, and Aragon will come back over the midfield line. Good through ball, 2-on-1 here. Good opportunity, and it hit the post. Sonora making a bid to make it a 1-goal game and banged off the goalpost. Sonora had 2 players deep. And Carlos Hernandez banged it off the woodwork.
Hernandez with a nice nifty technical move. Looks like he did almost a little rainbow over Hugo Silva. Inches wide.
Restart, and that one is sent into the crowd by Adrian Miller. Not what he wanted. And that may be a bit of a death knell here for Soleil. We'll see. They had a great chance there to pull within 1 again. And Hernandez kissed it off the pipe. Manolares Gets it deep now to Guillerme. He's got Pereira behind him. Guillerme loses it. Sonora with a chance to push forward here. Monaleros will defend. Gonzaga comes in there again on Gonzalez, who has 2 goals in the half. And Gonzalez with the contact. Good sportsmanship by Daniel as he helps Monaleros to the turf. 24 seconds to play. This one might be in the books. Don't want to say it yet, but the Tropics should be able to run a little clock here. Silva. Monaleros will lift it to the midfield circle. Carvalho going to track it down, gets it ahead to Guillerme. Guillerme takes a shot, just misses his bid for a hat trick. One last push forward to Sonora, but they're not going to have enough time to get 2. Here's a chance, a long shot by Espinoza. Silva with a save at the buzzer, but it's over. The Tropics will come home with their 15th win of the season. In exciting fashion here this afternoon in Lakeland at the RP Funding Center with a final score of 8-6 to improve to 15-2 on the season. And for the time being, they will open their lead in the East to 2 games over Utica, who will be in action later tonight. Meanwhile, Sonora will fall to 9-10. They will at least temporarily stay in 4th place in the West, but the Tropics doing some of the Western Conference teams a favor here this afternoon, perhaps most notably Tacoma, trying to make a late bid, if you will, in the West, as they are now just a half game behind the Soleil in the Western Conference standings, and they are off the rest of the weekend. They will stay home, Tacoma will, and host the Tropics for their next 2 games. So the magic number for a playoff berth for the Tropics right now is 2, as we can see the updated standings. Florida at 15-2, Utica playing later tonight, Milwaukee, Baltimore also playing later tonight, and you figure both will win since Rochester and Orlando are their 2 opponents. Out west, Sonora still holding on to that 4th and final playoff spot, but Ontario not that far ahead of Tacoma either. Don't know if Mesquite will have enough in the tank at 6-12 to make a late season run, although they may have got something very nice started last night with their win over San Diego. So the top 4 teams in each conference make the playoffs, Robbie. The top team gets to choose who they get to play. Certainly too early to talk about that, but not too early to talk about the fact that the Tropics just with a magic number of 2 now to earn their first ever playoff berth in the MASL.
Well, you got to feel good for the Florida Tropics and Clay Roberts, because it's been a fantastic run this season. They've played fantastic football at times, really savvy indoor team. Collective effort tonight with a lot of guys out. So credit to them. It's a big win. And now they get closer and closer to their first goal, which is getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, here's Joey Tavernese with his goal in the first quarter. Had a big night for Joey with 4 points. Guillerme with 2 great goals tonight. That was his first on the power play. And then Lucas Monaleros. But then it was Sonora. Down 4-0 in the second quarter, really started taking the play away from the Tropics, getting a restart goal there. Joey Tavernese with his second of the game to stem some of the Soleil momentum, but Sonora was tough, Robbie. A lot of credit to them after that very tough first quarter. Yeah. They came back and played very well and made the Tropics earn everything here tonight.
No, you got to give credit to Sonora, and they're missing their leading goal scorer. Also, the Tropics are missing a lot of their firepower, but credit to them. They played excellent tonight.
Here's that final big strike by Guillerme, which proved to be big, not the game winner, but certainly a goal that gave the Tropics that breathing room at 8-5. Sonora came back to make it an 8-6 final, but a big effort by the Tropics all the way around here tonight at the RP Funding Center. So for the Tropics, a West Coast trip, and Robbie, you've made a lot of those in your day, having played 300 almost games in this league. What's the key to going out west and performing well?
Well, I think it's just the mentality, and again, it's never easy going that far all the way from Florida. But we'll see how they do on the road.
Let's head down to the floor and hear from one of the Tropics players, Antonio Manfoot.
Hello, Tropics Nation. Thank you for joining us. Today we have Antonio with us. Antonio, tell me about the pace of play at the beginning of the game. How did the offense do?
Yeah, we started off very well. We were proud of the way we started off the first quarter. Really high pressure, and it ended up working out well for us. But we kind of faded away from them in the second half, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's all right.
Well, tell me, what inspired you to keep going in the second half, especially the fourth quarter after a slow third? What, you guys just picked it up at the end. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, coach was getting on us. We had to stick to what our game plan was, which we did in the third quarter. We let in some easy goals that we normally don't do. A little bit unfortunate, but our team has so much depth, and just people stepped up all around in different positions. We're proud of everyone with that, so ended up pulling out the win, so we're happy with that.
Now, tonight was a record-breaking attendance night for the Tropics. Do you feel that gave you even more of a home field advantage here?
Most definitely. Like a lot of other teams, they're able to feed off their crowd when the momentum swings. So we're happy that all these fans came out for today, and hopefully they can come out for even more, because it really helps us. It really gets us going. And we'd love to put on a good show for everybody here, so it really helped out.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Antonio Manfoot talking about the win and the big crowd here tonight at the RP Funding Center. A franchise record 4,318 on Lakeland Electric night. We appreciate Lakeland Electric for their sponsorship of the game tonight, and they're passing out of there were literally 300 or 400 people in line at 4 o'clock this afternoon to get into this game. I've never seen that before for the Tropics, but that's kind of what this community is about. They are really responding to this team, Robbie, and the fact they're now 15-2, put on a great show, and they're going to go home happy.
No, the quality of the soccer is fantastic right now. Clay Roberts has all players playing at a high level. They're playing a real savvy indoor style of play. They're using the boards. They're blocking shots. It's a real collective team effort. And, you know, you couldn't be more proud of the team that right now is being showcased. First place in the East. I mean, you got the Wave, Utica, and the Blast below them. That's something to say.
Yeah, it'll be a battle down the stretch, and nothing given in this East over the final third of the season. Milwaukee is going to make a push. You know Utica City is going to make a push. You know that Baltimore is always tough, and they are finally finding their stride at 12-7. Who knows if they're the fourth place team, if the Tropics will want to play them or not. But that's down the road. A big night here in Lakeland this afternoon as the Tropics win over Sonora by a score of 8-6. Have a great weekend, everybody.